Goldman Sachs Asset Management recently acquired defined contribution benefits provider Next Capital. So how does that fit into the strategy?
Well, Greg, we have a retirement issue here in the United States. Over the last 25 years, we've shifted from defined benefit pension plans to defined contribution plans. And in doing so, we've shifted the risk from employers to individual participants within these plans. Now, these participants are faced with a very difficult time. We have incredibly volatile markets, we have inflation at record highs, and we have a situation where, thankfully, people are living longer, but that means that their money needs to last a bit longer. And so we saw this as an opportunity to address the problem that we're seeing within the defined contribution marketplace. Next Capital, coupled with the capabilities of Goldman Sachs, allow us to address this need within the defined contribution marketplace and do it in a way that is much more personalized than what's available today.
Well, Goldman Sachs is obviously well known for its investment banking and its trading. Now you're really diving deep into the DC plan space. Can you talk about that as an overall strategy for the bank?
Sure. So what we're most excited about is addressing this problem that we see in the marketplace with this shift from defined benefit to defined contribution plans. If we're able to address this need that we see in the marketplace for more personalization, we think it could be really exciting. So we need to deliver to the marketplace, and by marketplace I mean plan sponsors and advisors and participants, a solution that is easier, better, and cheaper than what's out there. And if we can deliver on that, then there's no reason this shouldn't be the default for every option in the defined contribution space in the market.
We've certainly seen a lot of personalization in the DC space, things like target date funds. What more can you do from a personalization aspect, though?
There's so much more you can do from a personalization aspect. We're different people. There's lots of different people that have different retirement goals, that have different risk tolerances and time horizons more generally. And the average DC plan today was set up for the average participant in the DC plan with the assumption that the savings plans for each of those individual participants is on track. And that may or may not be true. So the target date fund revolution that's happened over the last 15 years has done a good job, I would say, of addressing this need for personalization. But it personalizes and customizes with one variable, which is when do you think you're going to retire? So Next Capital unleashes the power of technology to be able to personalize in a much more specific way. And when you couple that with Goldman Sachs investment capabilities and our financial planning resources, we think that there's a tremendous opportunity for much more personalization within the defined contribution marketplace.
And what about your multi-asset solutions business? Where's the organic growth coming from there?
Sure. So very common with what I just talked about with respect to defined contribution plans. There's a significant trend in the marketplace for increased customization. And when you think about the capabilities that Goldman Sachs has to offer, and you couple that with world-class advice and the ability to customize, we do that for the largest institutions in the world, and we do that for individuals in defined contribution plans. I'd say there's one place in particular that there's a lot of organic growth and opportunity, and for us that's within the retirement and wealth space. In retirement, we're the largest defined benefit outsourced chief investment officer in the United States. We have a world-class defined contribution advisory practice, and this Next Capital acquisition is a really great opportunity for us to do even more within managing DC assets. So there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for us within retirement and wealth within the US, and I would say also outside of the US with many of the wealth platforms that we've dealt with.
And what about your model portfolio business? How do you see that evolving, especially as you're getting deeper into the retirement space?
The ETFs models business is a fascinating business and one that's evolved tremendously over the last number of years. We've had a track record going back to 2004, and we're one of the larger model portfolio providers with about $13 billion in assets. The trend there is really fascinating to me. You can see that there's historically been a need for low-cost ETF-oriented core models, and the demand that we're seeing from independent RIAs, platforms, large broker-dealers is really all around customization outside of that core menu offering. So we're getting a lot of requests, and we've received new mandates in the alternative space, in the income-oriented space, ESG, so many more of these customized, specialty-oriented models that combine both the ETFs and mutual funds. The next phase of this, I believe, is unleashing the power of technology to create even more customization, and also through the evolution of direct indexing. So you can envision a world whereby instead of using the ETF wrapper, you can unbundle it and use a unified managed account directly, whereby it's a separate account of separate accounts. And that, I think, is the true power of customization that's likely to come in the industry.
All right, well, thanks a lot for coming on and talking about it.
My pleasure. Thank you, Greg.